You're listening to Life Repurposed with Michelle Rayburn, where you'll find uplifting and practical advice for everyday living, creative inspiration for do-it-yourself projects, and recommendations for books and resources that will encourage you to embrace your life repurposed. I'm your host, Michelle Rayburn. Hey friends, I'm glad to be back with another episode of Life Repurposed. This week I have a special guest. I think you're going to enjoy having him, although there were some moments I had to edit out as I produced this episode because I have my husband, Phil Rayburn, joining us today, and you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. Mine either, sometimes when we're together. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are talking on our 31st anniversary, and I thought it would be really fun to wrap up the year having him be on the show with me, just to talk about the book we had come out this year, but also to talk about how we can have some humor in marriage. So as we chat back and forth, we talk about some of the things not to do and some of the ways that we can learn to appreciate our spouse's humor. So I hope you enjoy our conversation as you listen in. Welcome to episode number 73 of Life Repurposed. I have a special guest today. He is here under duress. He is a hostage in my studio, and he's not super excited about being here. Welcome, Phil Rayburn, my husband.
Well, thank you, Michelle. You know, I'm always happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Hope this goes well, and it's a good thing you're a good editor so that we can edit out anything that people may not want to hear.
Or we can do a bloopers reel at the end, which works just fine. So my listeners are probably wondering why in the world I have you on as a guest. Sometimes it's me as a solo. Sometimes it's guests who have written books. We're here to wrap up 2020 and talk about some marriage communication things because this hasn't been a perfect year for us. It's never a perfect year. We're always a work in progress, right?
That is correct. Yes. I'm hoping that people will learn from my mistakes, or no, our mistakes.
Ours, yeah, we both make mistakes. Yeah, so we're going to talk about how couples communicate. One of the reasons I wanted Phil to come on is because this year we released a book together called Classic Marriage. We're going to talk about that at the end of the episode. But I think it's really good to wrap up a year thinking about marriage and communication and think about what can we improve going into the next year. So we're recording this on our 31st anniversary. So 31 years ago, 2 kids in their 20s said, I do.
Wow. 31 years.
We're old people now.
That sounds really old.
Yeah, we are really old. Can you remember that day?
Yeah, I remember it well. Yeah, it was.
You were about as nervous as you are today, actually.
Yeah, I never was one to be in front of crowds, but I think I did better on my wedding day than I did actually my rehearsal.
Yeah, the rehearsal was tough.
It was a little tough, thinking, "Wow, this is really going to happen."
On our wedding day, though, you weren't really thrilled about kissing in front of people.
I'm shy. We just don't do that in front of
You are
people.
not shy if someone asks you to talk about Jeep. So just let's get that out of your system right now as we start the show. Let's just talk about your favorite thing on earth, restoring pickup trucks. Well, I hope I'm your favorite thing on earth. But
correct. Yeah, I was going to say on earth. Yeah, we do enjoy, my son and I, Austin.
Right. Our son, Austin.
Enjoy going around the country and picking up old Jeep pickups mainly. Sometimes others get added into the mix, but it's kind of one of our things we do together. Find deals on Marketplace, and Michelle's favorite place to go. Not really. She would like to restrict me on Marketplace.
It started out going around the countryside, like within a radius of our house. Then it was going around the state, and recently it became going cross-state borders to get pickup trucks on a trailer. So these are adventures.
They're adventures. We're thinking about doing a pilot for Netflix, and so that, I think...
So you do have some recording in your future, you think? You're going to have to get over the camera shy stuff.
Yeah, that was a joke. But we do have adventures. It is kind of fun. We have a good sense of humor as we're picking these things up, and we meet a lot of interesting people actually out there.
That's true. So I think you really could have a show, or you could at least start your own podcast. And I could be your producer, but that would be a real challenge, I think.
Yes. I just enjoy the road and meeting people.
Yeah. So was it a year or two ago that you guys had a little breakdown when you were going to haul something? I know you were hauling a truck.
Yeah, we were hauling one of Austin's pickups down to his place so he could work on it there.
Our boys are both married, so now we have pickup trucks spread all over the world.
We did blow a tire on the car hauler we had, and so it happened to be what you call Black Friday.
Well, so that's a convenient day to have
not
a
good
breakdown.
day, and we had multiple things happening. But
that was before COVID, so people were actually Black Friday shopping, and the store was full.
That is correct. And so the store was closing probably around 8. We may have pulled into the place by 7:20.
People love that when they're in the service department.
Correct. And so we were just really hoping we could get this tire changed and get on the road. And the first thing we do is we walk in with the tire, and we ask the guy at the counter, we said, can we get this tire changed?
And you happened to be right by the store when you broke down.
It wasn't too far. We were pretty close, so we were pretty fortunate. We got the tire off. But the first thing he said is, getting here kind of late, aren't you boys?
Yeah. So the reason I'm asking Phil to tell this story today is because we're going to be talking about humor in relationships, and Phil interacts best through a little bit of sarcasm. And so if somebody says something like that in a serious moment, an unhappy, disgruntled store worker at the tire department who's wondering why on the busiest shopping day of the year you show up and ask for a repair 20 minutes before closing. So how does your typical sense of humor respond? Well,
I did hold back, but I really wanted to say, well, me and the boy, we were at home. I said, son, that flat tire in the garage. You know what? We should all go get that changed. And it'd be why not? And that's what I felt like telling him.
So you just turn off the football and let's go shopping.
Hey, about that flat tire, let's just go and get that done today. No, but I held back, and I kindly explained to him that we had a breakdown on the road, and we had no choice but to bring it in now. Yeah, sometimes my sarcasm, it keeps me from getting maybe a little grumpy, my sense of humor sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So in a marriage relationship, sometimes humor and sarcasm can be appropriately timed, and at other times not so appropriately timed.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Yeah, mm-hmm. I've definitely done a few of those inappropriate timing, sarcastic remarks or sense of humor that I think sounds pretty funny at the moment. But by the look on your face, I can tell probably not so much. Yeah, probably should have maybe held that.
Dial it back just a little bit.
Correct.
So I know there's probably somebody out there listening who either loves to use sarcasm or has somebody in their life that uses it. So let's talk about some of the ways that humor might not be appropriate in a marriage. So let's talk about some of the things that may become a problem. How about teasing or insulting your spouse in front of guests? Like if I really screw up a meal.
That does not go over well. I can.
I do remember one, maybe at our wedding. No, it wasn't our wedding. It was at some sort of Thanksgiving family gathering or something. I think somebody asked you about my cooking.
Yeah. I have learned.
Tell the listeners what you said about my cooking.
I may have mentioned, like I said, well, what's that one dish you make? It has, raisins in it, and then flakes, and then you put milk over it, and it's kind of
and you drew all the laughter that you were hoping for around that table.
It was maybe funny at the moment. I did explain though that
I actually think those things are funny looking back, but in the moment I wanted to rip your head off because I thought I was a pretty decent cook. So
and you are. Let's put that out there. You're a very good cook.
I think the timing has to be important. You need to know when it's funny and maybe it's good for a laugh, but you have to know if your spouse can take it or not. I think I have a pretty good sense of humor.
You do.
But sometimes I give you dirty looks when you say things.
You've come a long ways.
You've trained me well. Okay, how about using humor to point out sensitive subjects? Like, you don't want to talk about it, but if I make a joke about it, how do you think that works out?
Not well.
No?
Yeah, not well. May have tried that too.
Okay.
But
well,
no,
you haven't done it though. Like I could stand to lose a few pounds, but you've never made that kind of joke
no.
about my weight.
No, I wouldn't do that. No. But no, I would hope I'd have enough sense to not do that.
Yeah. So it's really good to know when a sensitive subject should just be talked about like in a normal way instead of using humor, because I can see right through it. I know what you're trying to say if you bring it up. Okay, how about teasing with any motive but fun? It's kind of like along the lines that we've been talking about, but what if my motive is to make you look bad and get, like in front of my friends or something?
Yeah. No. Is that correct?
Is that a question?
Yes,
it's not
of course.
A yes and no answer.
Just messing with you there a little bit. No, yeah. Of course, no.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's this temptation, I think, to bring it up because there's a safe zone. You think maybe I won't scream if other people are around, so maybe I'll just bring it up in a crowd when other people are listening. That
is true. Yes. I
know she won't flip out.
Yep, very true.
You can usually tell by the look on someone's face, though, of whether it hit the mark or whether it was really a bad thing to say.
And you might feel good at the moment, but later you won't feel so good about those comments.
And that brings us to the idea of laughing at your mate instead of laughing with them. I've probably laughed at you a couple of times. Sometimes I can't help it.
A couple. Okay.
Okay. But we've laughed at each other.
Yes. No, I understand. I'm easy to laugh at times.
Sometimes I can't tell if you're doing it on purpose or if you really didn't mean to be funny. And then I realized by the look on your face, I need to stop laughing.
Oh, rare that I get hurt by that.
Well, you're somewhat accident prone, so there's a little bit of slapstick comedy that goes on just naturally in your life.
Sometimes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hit your head a lot and you fall down. People are going to wonder what medical problems you have. He does a lot of, like we said, fixing up trucks, and he's not always careful with looking out for where the tools are when he's working or bumping his head on a bumper, literally.
Right. The chainsaw to the eye.
Yeah.
That chainsaw file, but other than that.
Yeah. So then the last one that I wanted to talk about was the idea of like saying someone is too sensitive. So let's say we say something to our spouse, they don't laugh, and then instead of saying I'm sorry, we turn it around and say you're just being too sensitive. You need to have a thicker skin. That doesn't usually go over too well.
No, not at all.
Not in our relationship,
no, not at all.
Least.
I think that.
So I think the best thing to do is to really know the other person's sense of humor and know what's appropriate, and to know when there can be a little bit of teasing and stuff going on, but also to know when to apologize. Hey, we could write a song about this. Like,
on apologizing.
Know when to apologize. Know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Oh, that's already been done.
It's been done. Yeah.
All right. So, do you have anything else to add on how not to use humor in a marriage?
I think you've covered most of them, but I'm sure if there is something that hasn't been covered, there's a good possibility I've probably done it wrongly. So, but I think I've learned over the years.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
I think I've learned to maybe step back the humor a little bit when things.
And I've learned to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, so get a little better balance there.
A little give and take.
Yeah.
So let's quickly talk through some of the different kinds of humor, because I think just like there is a love language we all have where, it's like whether you like gifts or words of affirmation, there's also a laugh language. And we borrowed some ideas from an article that I'll have linked to in the show notes, but these are just some different types of humor. So one is physical humor, and that's like scaring people, pranks, falling, the slapstick comedy. Do you think, Phil, that men or women like this more?
I would guess men. Maybe.
Probably, yeah, based on the YouTube videos out there and the number of men who take videos of their kids riding a motorcycle off a ramp or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would guess so.
Yeah. So that would be something that men might appreciate more. And one of the ways that you can communicate with your spouse, if that's their laugh language, is to find those videos as you're scrolling through social media and just send a link. I'll send you a message sometimes and say, you have to watch this video. You have to watch this guy try to use a flamethrower to melt the snow on his driveway.
Yeah. Those are entertaining videos.
Yeah. So by sending something like that or sharing, it's me validating, oh, you think this is funny. Even if I don't, I'm going to share this with you because it made me think of you today. This person falling down made me think of you today.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
All right. Another one is bodily humor. This is toilet humor. Think junior high boys and passing gas. Now, in our family, this actually came up this week. Recently, I think we all sort of found it funny.
Passing gas or
humor of it?
It
was a sound that our trash can lid made as it was going closed every time somebody threw something away.
Yeah, that's right.
But the first time it happened, my son was home and we looked at each other and thought maybe Phil had just passed a little wind and we accused you of that.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And then we all got a good laugh out of it when we realized what had happened.
And no one would believe me. I insisted I did not. And everyone just, sure.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why, but then every time somebody was in the kitchen and threw something in that trash can and the lid went down, it made that noise again. And so I don't know why we find that funny. I don't know why, but that's just, some people have, that makes them laugh. Other people probably think we're crazy.
Yeah, I would say that's not really usually my sense of humor, that part.
Just
but I
hit
know
the target that day.
Just that day. But yes.
Yeah. So Phil's not the kind of guy who burps the alphabet and stuff like that. No.
I don't want
but some people do.
Yeah.
All right. Then there's the self-deprecating humor. This is putting yourself down. This is what a lot of comedians do. They joke about their own mistakes and their shortcomings. I think
I could relate to that one.
Yeah, I think we both. I write
like
that way in some of my writing. I feel like that's the kind of way you tell stories.
Yeah.
So there are some stand-up people we would listen to that we'd both like. If that's your spouse's laugh language, it's like there's a boundary where they can make those jokes, but it's not good if I make them and put them down. That's why it's called self-deprecating humor.
Right.
If I'm sending you darts through my eyes.
I don't laugh.
Don't laugh.
Don't laugh. Yeah.
All right. So that's another one. Here's another type of laugh language, wordplay humor. So this could be puns. It could be fun interchanging usage of words. That would be sort of more like a pun. Normally, women like this kind more, but actually you use a lot of puns.
I like puns. I do use a lot of puns.
You catch ones that I missed even sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know why that is.
And this one, I'll keep it appropriate when I tell this one. So as I tell this, you're looking at me like his eyebrows went up. I was like, what are you going to tell? So I was explaining to him a couple weeks ago how I had been to the doctor and we were talking about some things that were going on in my uterus because I was going to be having to have a procedure. And so I said, it'd be really nice to get to the bottom of this. And talking about the nether regions of my body and the surgery I was going to have.
Now my eyebrows are up.
And Phil said, was that pun intended? When I said, and I actually had totally missed that pun. When I said, we just need to get to the bottom of this. So He's looking at me just crazy right now.
Oh, no.
That is wordplay humor. Sometimes it's dad jokes. Those are bad,
Oh,
but we still like them.
I love dad jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's wordplay humor. So I think in our family, we're kind of balanced on that. But in some families, in some relationships, the wordplay humor is not enjoyed by both spouses. But again, if you see, like Phil's done this, he sees something on social media and he will send me a grammar joke or something like that. And so it's just kind of fun that he knows that I would enjoy that. The last one actually there's two of them here. They're kind of related. There's surreal humor. This is exaggerated stories. You see this a lot from comedians as well, where they tell the story, but there's a lot of extra details.
I do that.
Yeah, the exaggeration
I'm
just
an
a little bit.
exaggerator a little bit. Yep.
Phil is really good at telling stories of things that happened when he was in high school. Getting kicked out of class and sent to the hallway.
Yeah.
Phil forgot to mute his phone. So we're talking about marriage communication. This happens all the time in our relationship. Okay, so exaggeration. I'm not exaggerating when I say that happens all the time either. Men tend to like this type of humor. Well, actually, I think men and women both kind of like that. Comedians use it a lot.
Yeah, I my stories may have grown a little
Just a bit.
since high school, but pretty close. I mean,
Sure. Each time he tells it, it's got another one. All right. So then the last one is dark humor. And this is talking about subjects that are almost considered taboo. In our book, we give the example of the movie Weekend at Bernie's. So that's kind of a weird movie where a man passes away, but then they try to how do I explain it? They use him like a puppet all weekend long, so people don't know.
Correct. So they can stay at his place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they know he's left this life, then they can't stay there anymore and enjoy their vacation.
That's really dark humor because it's taking a serious subject of death and making light of it. And so not everyone appreciates that kind of movie. Some people find it really funny. So that's dark humor. So whatever your style of humor is, the important message is that you get to know your spouse a little bit and figure out what makes them laugh. Because I'd say in 31 years, laughter has been a big deal in our relationship. Would you?
I would think so. I hope so. Yeah. I enjoy the laughter that we can share with one another.
Sometimes we don't know why we're laughing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all part of it. Maybe I'm laughing just because you're laughing.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the fact that you're laughing. No.
Yeah. So one of the things that we have in our book, Classic Marriage, is some discussion questions related to each topic of a chapter. So we've been talking about some things that are in our chapter on humor. So what I'd like to do is wrap up our little chat today with talking about some of the things that are in the book. You'll find Classic Marriage, Staying in Love as Your Odometer Climbs in the show notes of this episode. So you just have to go to michellerayburn.com/73. There will be a link to the book there. There's also going to be a link to a download. You can sign up and get a download of the discussion questions that are at the end of each chapter. These are put together for you to use as a date night type of activity where you both talk back and forth. Now, I've done a lot of the talking today. But if Phil can stay awake at night, we kind of equally converse.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Until he gets the glazed eye look, and then I know it's time to quit.
Gets to be the...
or he says, "Are you done yet?"
I don't know if I've ever said that.
I think you said that last week.
Okay.
I was talking too long.
Hopefully I said it in a nice way. But,
I let you know if we need to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty forward.
Really? Oh, yeah.
So in the book, there's those discussion questions. You can download those. Also, there is a photo booth sign file where there's 9 different signs we made. You can print those, and then for various occasions, you can hold them up and take a selfie, like your own little photo booth, so you can wish friends happy anniversary with your sign, or you can post one for your own anniversary. So those are going to be in the show notes at michellerayburn.com/73. What I want to do is take a question or two from that chapter and see what happens with us talking about it with no rehearsal. No planning ahead. Phil has no idea which question I'm going to ask. This is from Chapter 12, Laughter, the Language of Harmony. One of the discussion questions asks, describe something that makes your spouse laugh. I'm thinking.
Oh, I'm thinking.
You can go first. What makes me laugh?
I always thought puns made you laugh, but so I try to come up with puns, words that could be taken in 2 different ways. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not very good on the spot, but as far as thinking of other things.
This is good, though, because this is what couples would be doing. You're having dinner, you go out to dinner, and you use the discussion questions.
Right.
So we're talking, and I think what makes you laugh most are stories our kids tell, actually. I've seen you laugh a lot when they tell a story. You really get into it.
Yeah, they are good storytellers. I wonder... they must get that from both of us.
Yeah.
Yes. No, but yeah, they both tell pretty funny stories.
All right. How about what movie do you find funny that you could watch over and over again?
I know that Napoleon, I think we maybe mentioned
that. Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite.
I don't know why that weird, I don't know, I guess it's a weird...
It's awkward.
Awkward.
It's awkward humor.
Maybe because it kind of reminds me of...
There's a lot of us in that story.
When I was in high school. Not quite that bad, but, so I think you could relate to some of those situations and laugh. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other movies.
I feel like we've watched The Princess Bride more than once.
Princess Bride certainly was a movie I enjoyed watching.
Some kind of Monty Python maybe we've watched more than once.
I don't know that I watched a ton of Monty Python. I watched, that was I watched it with my oldest son, Dallas, really loved those. So I'd watch them with him. But yeah, I would, I guess Planes, Trains, and Automobiles
more than once.
Was kind of a funny one
we have to
used
mute
to watch.
a spot in the middle.
Couple, but I suppose. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, movies like that are maybe...
situational comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after a while, you develop your own things that you like to watch sometimes when you're chilling out, but then you have certain things you watch together. Can you remember a time when we both laughed so hard that we lost our composure? I can remember one actually not that long ago. I don't remember why I was laughing actually, but I was crying. I think I had watched a video.
Oh.
I've had a few of those. I've watched a video of like somebody eating something or doing something, just a social media video, and then it sets off something in me. And Phil just shakes his head wondering what in the world happened.
No, I do enjoy some of the, I guess, YouTube videos of kind of more realistic videos of, like stages of remodeling a house.
Oh, yeah.
And the 5 stages you go through. Which,
things that point out our own human flaws.
Correct.
And then we look at that and see ourselves in it.
You can relate to those things and go, yep, that is so true, even though you're making light of it.
Yeah.
We did.
How about a typical scenario in our relationship where one of us might use humor inappropriately to cope? We'll wrap up with that one. Kind of serious.
Like maybe if I come home and the dishes are, I didn't get to the dishes.
You just do them.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to go there.
Sometimes I just put him in the dish. I just put him in there thinking the dish fairy's going to come along and then someone just puts him in the dishwasher for me.
To meet that person someday. I don't know. I guess I'm not, like I said, I can't think of any. I know I've.
Maybe it's a good thing we don't share too many of them because we might just have an argument right here.
Yeah, that phone call that just came in.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to take that.
It's probably another truck he's got to go pick up. Well, I appreciate you being here on the show for those who listened in to a little bit of our everyday stuff.
I apologize for anything I may have said that could have upset anyone out there.
No.
But no.
So what we'd like to do is encourage you to pick up Classic Marriage. What we do in that book is we talk about everyday stuff. So we share some things that have happened in our own relationship, give some tips for how we've worked through it over the years. We talk about the things we've done wrong and the things that we've done to improve those, because that's so important in a marriage, is to recognize where we can continue to improve. We do not have a model marriage by any means as far as like no conflicts ever. I don't even know, would that be a model marriage? We have all the normal stuff that couples have. We have times where he makes me cry and I make him want to go out to the garage because he's just done hanging around with me. But we communicate, we talk through it. I think that's important. And so we're not marriage therapists. We're not people who have it all together, but we have worked through some things. So in the book, we share some of our own everyday stories. And then Phil gives his own little side comments to the stories. Yeah,
which have been edited a little bit, which is good. Michelle's a great editor.
Yeah, we had to censor a few.
Had to have some censoring, but
That's
sometimes
okay.
I say things that won't even make this podcast, believe it or not.
We'll be editing. So we put that book together as a way of giving people a resource to help you work on communication in your own marriage, to laugh a little together. That's why we're talking about laughter, to look at just some ways that you can continue to strengthen and improve your relationship. The reason we're doing this at the end of this year is I think it would be a great way to start off next year by making a commitment to work on your marriage. So if it's been a complacent year, this is the perfect time to say we're going to work on our marriage in 2021. The book has 20 chapters, so you could do one a week. You read it. You could skim it if you need to, and then you just work on those discussion questions together. Set aside some time to do that. So we encourage you to pick up Classic Marriage. This is our promo for that, but we did that because we really wanted to invest in other people's marriages too. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off for the day, Phil?
No, I thank you for having me on your podcast.
You always say that.
This has just been a real pleasure. And
is it really an honor and a joy?
I mean, this beats ice fishing any day. I mean, I'd be on the cold lake. Well, no, this is great. Thank you.
Let the sarcasm roll.
No.
How about working on a truck?
Thank you.
Would you trade this for working on a truck?
I would rather work on a truck. But, I mean, to be completely honest.
I appreciate your honesty.
But I love you so much that I am happy to be here and hopefully give a little insight in spending time with you.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary, hon.
All right, let's go and warm up some leftovers.
Sounds great.
All right, thanks for being with us, folks. We are glad that you joined us. We hope you got something out of our meandering conversation. I will be back next week talking about how to launch a new year. And then I also have a whole series of guests that are going to be coming on the show. So stick with me. I have authors coming on to talk about their books, some podcasters. I even have a couple of male guests, in addition to Phil being the only one we've had really so far. A couple of men that will be coming on to give their perspective. And so I just think I'm really looking forward to 2021. If you happen to have stuck with us this far, stay with us for just a couple more minutes as you hear a little bit of fun behind the scenes with Phil. So if you were going to have your own podcast or your Jeep show, what would your intro be? Let's hear it.
Hey, welcome to Pa's Garage, where Phil and Austin travel the world over to bring back every Jeep J10 truck that is up for sale. And we bring it back and we will restore it. And
that's too long.
Sorry.
That's the longest podcast intro ever. Wait, let's shorten that up a little bit. I'm your producer now.
Okay. Hey, welcome to Pa's Garage, where Phil and Austin travel the world over to bring back every Jeep J10 truck. Today we'll be talking about the Golden Eagle that we just brought back from Michigan.
He's rescuing every
Any
lost Jeep in the world.
Questions on this Golden Eagle, please give us a call here. And
Oh,
we'll
it's a
be
live
happy.
show. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
live call-in.
Be happy to talk about the Golden Eagle or the 79 Jeep Honcho that's also in restoration right now. So if any of you out there have one of those particular trucks and are looking for some parts, or maybe we need some parts, hey, give us a call. We're always happy to talk here at Paws Garage.
Even if you're laughing, lean in. Just don't clunk anything.
Okay,
don't
here
kick,
we
don't
are
clunk.
at the Michelle
Don't
Rayburn
move.
podcast.
Okay. It is
So
up there.
excited to be here today.
You are not excited to be here
Thank
today.
you for inviting me.
You are hating being here today.
I couldn't even imagine being anywhere else but here.
Uh-huh. Okay. He actually was a pretty good sport about all of it. So it was nice to have him on here. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next week. You've been listening to Life Repurposed with Michelle Rayburn. Check out tips, resources, and inspiration at michellerayburn.com. I'd love it if you would subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. I'd also love it if you would like, review, and share the information about this podcast with your friends. Thank you so much for listening.